A dim lantern's glow seeps through the cracked windows of an abandoned theater. The air hums with the scent of damp rot, and far off, the guttural cries of infected pierce the silence. Ellie, her battered guitar slung across her back, her heart scarred by battles, strums a faint tune. Beside her is Dina, her smile a defiant spark in a world where every rustle could spell doom. They laugh, their fingers entwined, but their eyes hold something unsettling, almost forbidden. Something that stops your breath, to love in a world where love feels like madness. What's the secret behind their choice? Why cling to a bond when everything screams, give up? Friedrich Nietzsche, whose words cut like a blade, called love a will to power, a drive to create, to affirm life, even as it crumbles. Today, we'll unravel how Ellie and Dina's love in The Last of Us Season 2 becomes an act of strength, how it echoes Nietzsche's philosophy, and why their story grips us in 2025, with the world teetering on the edge. Ready to uncover what makes their love so hauntingly magnetic? Buckle up, we're diving in. Picture a city swallowed by decay, where ivy strangles concrete walls and silence shatters with the steps of those no longer human. In this wasteland, Ellie and Dina aren't just lovers, they're a beacon, a light in endless darkness. They find each other amid ruins where every day is a fight. Their first moments aren't grand vows but quiet gestures. Dina tucks a stray lock of Ellie's hair, they share a scratched vinyl record, humming a tune under the rain's patter. Their laughter rings out, a middle finger to the infected lurking nearby. But every heartbeat shared is a gamble. To love here is to risk it all, your heart, your safety, your hope. Why play this dangerous game? What makes their bond not a vulnerability but a force? Nietzsche has an answer. Love isn't just a feeling, it's a choice. A choice to say yes to life despite its punches. Ellie and Dina don't hide from reality. Their love carves out a fragile haven of hope. Yet as shadow looms, Ellie's thirst for justice threatens to snuff out their light. Can their bond survive the storm? Nietzsche tackled love with audacity. For him, it wasn't a sugary fairy tale or a crutch for the weak. In his world, love is a battlefield where you either rise or fall. He called it a will to power, but not about control or domination. The will to power is the urge to create, to push beyond yourself, to embrace life despite chaos. Love, Nietzsche argued, can be a trap if it leaves you fragile, dependent. But it can also be the ultimate act of strength if chosen deliberately, a way to grow, protect, build. Ellie and Dina live this truth. Their connection isn't an escape, it's defiance. When they sway to a crackling melody in a forgotten bar, it's not just romance. It's rebellion. They forge meaning where it's nearly extinct, and their choice makes them unstoppable. But Nietzsche warned, love demands balance. Ellie, haunted by her anger, risks losing that balance. What happens if her past proves stronger than her love? This story isn't just fiction, it speaks to us because we, too, navigate a world of trials. In 2025, economic tremors, social unrest, and personal struggles test our resilience. In Latin America, where family ties are the bedrock, love for those closest to you becomes an anchor. In Mexico, where Pedro Pascal, who plays Joel, is a source of pride, his bond with Ellie in the show mirrors the value of kinship. In Argentina and Peru, where unity holds strong, love fuels survival through hardship. In the United States, where debates over morality and identity rage, Ellie and Dina's story strikes a chord. Nietzsche teaches us to see love as a choice to rise above circumstances. Through their journey, we'll see how feelings can build, how they spark hope, and how they can transform us. Think back. Has love ever lifted you when you were down? Maybe a friend's support, a family's warmth, or a passion that carried you through? Ellie and Dina, with their daring to love in a broken world, show that love isn't a luxury, it's a lifeline. Let's talk about you. Was there a time when love, to a partner, a family member, a cause, gave you the strength to stand tall? In Latin America, where community is everything, these stories hit home. In Mexico, Pascal's portrayal of Joel resonates with the power of family. In the United States, where questions of right and wrong burn bright, love can be a compass. Ellie and Dina, with their fragile yet fierce connection, are a mirror for us. Their love isn't just about them, it's about us, about choosing to be stronger than our struggles. Nietzsche's philosophy frames love as a deliberate act, not a fleeting whim. Through their story, we'll explore how love creates, how it fuels hope, and how it can reshape who we are. Ready to journey from the shattered streets of The Last of Us to ideas that make us more than we are? Let's dive deeper. Friedrich Nietzsche stared at the world with a boldness that takes your breath away. He saw life as an arena, not one where you battle foes, but where you wrestle with your own fears, doubts, and limits. His idea of the will to power isn't about crushing others, it's about pushing yourself to become more than you are. Love, for Nietzsche, can be the fiercest expression of this drive, but only if it builds, not breaks. How does this tie to Ellie and Dina, whose love burns bright in a world falling apart? Their bond isn't just romance, it's a fight for meaning, for life, for staying true to themselves. To grasp how their connection becomes a force, let's dive into Nietzsche's philosophy. Why did he see love as an act of creation? And how do heroes from myths to history show us that love can be might, not weakness? In his book Thus Spoke Zarathustra, Nietzsche dreamed up the superhuman, not a caped hero, but someone who transcends their limits to forge new meaning. The will to power is the fire behind this quest. It's not about lording over others, but mastering your own chaos, fear, pain, uncertainty. Love, Nietzsche argued, can fuel this fire, but only if it doesn't make you brittle. He warned, love that turns into neediness, that pulls you from reality, is a shackle. But love that inspires, that pushes you to grow? That's wings. It demands grit, because it embraces pain as part of the ride. Think about it, what gets you up after a fall? For Nietzsche, it's the drive to create, to say yes to life. Love, when chosen with eyes wide open, becomes the boldest act of this strength. Now, let's step into the world of The Last of Us. Ellie and Dina live where every day tests your spine. Infected raiders, hunger, everything pushes you to question, why keep going? Yet their love is their answer. When Dina shares the last can of beans with Ellie, when they whisper under a starlit sky, it's not just tenderness. It's a stand. A stand to be vulnerable, yet unbroken. A stand to trust, despite the sting of betrayal's risk. Nietzsche would call this the will to power, overcoming weakness, because their love isn't a hideout, but a foundation. They're building a fragile future, even if it feels like a pipe dream. Their bond isn't just emotion, it's a deliberate act that makes them tougher. But how long can they hold on when Ellie's rage, like a shadow, trails her every step? Think of heroes from the past whose love was a show of strength. Take Orpheus from Greek myth. He braved the underworld to reclaim Eurydice, knowing he could lose everything. His love wasn't weakness, it gave him the guts to defy gods. Or consider Cleopatra and Mark Antony. Their passion wasn't just personal, it was political, shaking empires. They gambled kingdoms for love, and though their story ended in tragedy, their choice was a flex of will. Ellie and Dina walk a similar path. Their bond isn't just a bomb in a world of ruins, it's a revolt against chaos, a push to create meaning where it's nearly gone. When they dance in a deserted bar to a scratchy tune, it's not just a fleeting romance. It's a declaration. We're alive, we're here, we choose each other. But Nietzsche would caution, love is a tightrope. Can Ellie keep her balance when her past pulls her toward the dark? Nietzsche wasn't one for mushy tales. He knew love isn't all beauty, it's danger too. If it becomes blind passion, it can derail you, weaken you. Ellie, with her burning need for justice, teeters on this edge. Her feelings for Dina are her lifeline, but her anger is a trap. Nietzsche warned, love must be a conscious choice, not a surrender of self. Think about your own story. Has love ever given you wings, or has it weighed you down? In the tales of heroes, from ancient myths to today, we see this crossroads. Orpheus's love inspired, but his despair destroyed. Ellie and Dina, daring to love in a world stacked against them, prove love can be creation. But their road is a fight, and Nietzsche reminds us that fight is never easy. In a world where ruins are cloaked in moss and every day is a roll of the dice, Ellie and Dina's love isn't just a feeling, it's defiance. Their bond is a torch in the night, lighting a path through chaos. When they share a quiet laugh in a crumbling house, when their voices drown out the howling wind, it's not just romance. It's a middle finger to a world hell-bent on breaking them. But what makes their love an anchor, not a burden? How does it keep them steady when everything's falling apart? And why does their story hit so close to home when life keeps throwing curveballs? Ellie and Dina's love in The Last of Us Season 2 isn't just their fight, it's a mirror reflecting our own. Let's unpack how their connection becomes a powerhouse, and ask, what keeps you grounded when the world tests your limits? Picture them holed up in an old theater, the lantern's glow catching their faces. Dina spins a tale of finding a safe haven, while Ellie, her eyes heavy with weariness, vows to stick by her side. These moments aren't just a breather, they're armor. Their love gives them purpose, not just to survive, but to live. When they clasp hands, weaving through overgrown streets, it's not weakness. It's strength, a shield against fear. Nietzsche would call this the will to power, not lording over others, but rising above circumstances. Their bond is a choice to build, even when loss looms large. But Ellie carries a storm inside. Her hunger for justice, her rage, it's a shadow that could snuff out their light. Can love stay an anchor when the past keeps dragging her back? Think about your own life. Has someone's support ever pulled you through when the ground felt shaky? Maybe a friend who listened when you were at your lowest, or a partner who reminded you of your dreams? In Latin America, where family ties run deep, these stories are woven into the fabric of life. In Mexico, where Pedro Pascal, who plays Joel, is a point of pride, his bond with Ellie in the show echoes the value of closeness. Love isn't always about grand gestures. It's a mother sacrificing for her kids, a friend standing by through thick and thin. Ellie and Dina, with their courage to hold on, show how love can be a lifeline. When Dina patches up Ellie's wounds, when they whisper about a future, it's not just affection. It's resistance, a refusal to let the world crush them. But their path isn't a fairy tale. Ellie, marked by scars and memories, walks a razor's edge. Her love for Dina is her guiding star, but her anger is a tempest that could wreck everything. Nietzsche would say, love only empowers if it doesn't blind you. Ellie must choose, let rage eclipse her feelings, or lean on love to stay true to herself. This struggle isn't hers alone. Think of movies where heroes face the same fork in the road, Gladiator, where Maximus drew strength from love for his family, or Inception, where Cobb battled his past for those he cherished. Ellie and Dina fit this mold. Their love isn't an escape from reality, it's a way to reshape it. But how long can they hold fast when vengeance knocks at Ellie's heart? This story grips us because it's our story, too. In 2025, with crises piling up, we're all searching for something to hold on to. Love, for family, friends, purpose, is what keeps us from crumbling. In Argentina and Peru, where people band together through hard times, love is the fuel that drives forward. In the United States, where questions of identity and morality burn bright, it offers answers. Ellie and Dina, with their fragile but fierce bond, are a testament to how love can be defiance. When they share the last scrap of bread, when they promise to keep fighting, it's not just their tale. It's a reminder, even in the darkest hours, we have a choice. What choice do you make when life brings you to your knees? Ellie and Dina thread through overgrown streets, hands clasped, each step a gamble in a world of ruin. Their love is a spark that cuts through the gloom, but a storm rages in Ellie's heart. Her anger, her hunger for justice, threatens to capsize their fragile boat. What makes love a strength, not a chink in the armor? Friedrich Nietzsche tackled this with brutal clarity. For him, love wasn't a dreamy escape, it was a choice: either you grow, or you lose yourself. In The Last of Us, Season 2, Ellie teeters on this knife's edge, and her struggle isn't just hers, it's ours. How do we choose love when life piles on the pressure? How do we keep it from chaining us down? Let's dive into Nietzsche's take on love and ask, what makes your bonds a powerhouse, not a weak spot? Nietzsche split love into two paths. Weak love is a trap. When you melt into someone else, losing your core, it's a weight that drags you under. Strong love is creation, when two people lift each other up without surrendering who they are. It's a tailwind pushing you forward. In his philosophy, love only empowers if it's deliberate, if it lights the way instead of blinding you. Think about it. Has love ever made you feel bigger than yourself? Or has it shackled you, holding you back? Nietzsche urged, choose love that sparks the superhuman in you, someone who overcomes flaws to build. Ellie and Dina face this crossroads, and their journey shows just how tough it is to strike that balance. Back to Ellie. Her feelings for Dina are her North Star. When they huddle under a tattered jacket, rain drumming around them, or when Dina murmurs about a safe haven, Ellie feels it, she's not alone. This love gives her a reason to keep going, a tether to something bigger. But her anger is a poison, seeping into that light. Her past, her need for justice, pulls her toward destruction. Nietzsche would say, Ellie must decide if her love will be creation or a crutch. If she lets rage overshadow her feelings, she'll lose herself. But if she channels love as strength, she'll rise above her pain. Think of Blade Runner, where Rick Deckard found purpose in his love for Rachel, despite the chaos. Ellie's in the same boat. She must choose which force wins, her light or her darkness. Now picture couples today navigating their own storms. Imagine a family in Peru, rocked by job loss, yet holding tight, drawing strength from their care for each other. Or a pair in the United States, split by distance, choosing to build rather than break. These stories are everywhere. In 2025, with economic strain and social tensions bearing down, love becomes a deliberate act. The choice to be stronger than your circumstances. In Latin America, where family is the heartbeat, these tales inspire. Pedro Pascal, playing Joel, reminds us of the power of bonds between loved ones. Ellie and Dina, with their courage to love, show that it's not about need, it's about strength. But how do you make that choice when anger's knocking? This isn't just philosophy, it's alive in us. Think of couples who've weathered tempests, Nelson Mandela and Winnie, whose love endured years of prison, or characters like Ennis and Jack in Brokeback Mountain, fighting for their bond against a hostile world. Ellie's at the same crossroads. Her love for Dina is her shot at becoming stronger, but only if she keeps anger at bay. Nietzsche teaches us, love isn't about losing yourself, it's about finding yourself. Ellie must learn her strength lies not in vengeance, but in the moments she chooses Dina, chooses life. So, what do you choose when life tests you? How do you balance love that builds with feelings that could tear you down? In the world of The Last of Us, love isn't a greeting card, it's a weapon forged in chaos. Ellie and Dina find each other amid ruins, where every day is a high-stakes bet. Their bond isn't just tenderness, it's a shield that lets them stand tall. But how does love survive when the world screams, give up? How does it become a lifeline, not a liability? In a post-apocalypse where hope is a rare guest, Ellie and Dina carve out their own fragile, unbreakable world. Their story isn't just theirs, it's about resilience born in the darkest times. Think about it, what keeps you going when everything's falling apart? Let's explore how Ellie and Dina's love becomes a beacon of strength, and how real tales of love and war echo their path. Imagine a derelict warehouse, the lanterns flicker dancing on its walls. Ellie and Dina huddle by a fire, their breath mingling in the chilly air. Dina shares the last handful of nuts, and Ellie, her eyes shadowed with exhaustion, offers a faint smile. These moments aren't just a pause, they're a fortress. Their love is built on small acts, a touch, a glance, a promise to keep fighting. In a world where infected lurk around corners and raiders show no mercy, these gestures are a rebellion. Nietzsche would call this creation, love that doesn't shy from pain but uses it as fuel. Ellie and Dina aren't just scraping by, they're living, crafting meaning where it's nearly extinct. But Ellie's anger, her past, is a shadow that could swallow their light. Can their bond withstand this blow? This resilience isn't fiction. Think of real wars where love was a lifeline. During the Leningrad siege, people shared their last crust of bread with loved ones, finding strength and care. Letters from soldiers in the Second World War, brimming with tenderness, kept them grounded amid horrors. These stories aren't about perfect romance. They're about choice, choosing love when the world is against you. Ellie and Dina walk this same road. When they shelter from snow in a crumbling house, when Dina hums an old tune to soothe Ellie, it's not just feelings. It's defiance. Their love is a lighthouse in a storm. Think of Schindler's List, where Oskar Schindler risked everything for those he cherished. Ellie and Dina, with their courage, fit this legacy. But what makes their love so unbreakable? Reflect on your own life. Has there been a moment when love, for a friend, family, or partner, became your rock? In Brazil, where family is the heartbeat, these stories resonate deeply. In Peru, where people rally together through crises, love is the engine driving forward. Ellie and Dina, with their fragile bond, show how love thrives in chaos. Their choice isn't about grand words, it's about action. Dina bandages Ellie's wounds, Ellie shields Dina in a fight. These acts aren't weakness, they're armor. Nietzsche would say, their love is the will to power because it builds, despite the risks. But Ellie's on a tightrope. Her anger could shatter what they've built. How do you find balance when the world's testing you? This story moves us because it's about grit. In 2025, with crises piling up, we're all searching for something to hold on to. Love, for those closest, for a cause, for yourself, is what keeps us standing. In Argentina, where families unite against hardship, love is salvation. In the United States, where questions of identity weigh heavy, it offers answers. Ellie and Dina, with their unyielding bond, show how love can be a stand against chaos. Their tale isn't a fairy tale, it's a fight. Think about it, what's your lighthouse in the storm? Ellie and Dina remind us, even in chaos, love is the choice to live, not just exist. But how long can they hold on when Ellie's past comes calling? Ellie and Dina trudge through a snow-dusted forest, their breath curling in the frosty air. Dina grips Ellie's hand, as if to say, we're in this together, despite the storm, outside and the one raging in Ellie's heart. Their love isn't just a feeling, it's a force that keeps them moving when everything's stacked against them. But how does this force play out in our world, in 2025, where crises shake lives to the core? Economic upheaval, social clashes, personal battles, they test us like the post-apocalypse tests Ellie and Dina. Love, for family, partners, friends, becomes the anchor that keeps us from sinking. Think about it, what keeps you afloat when the world's falling apart? Let's unpack how love fuels resilience in 2025, and why Ellie and Dina's story feels like our own. In 2025, the world's on shaky ground. In Latin America, economic hardship pushes families to band together, pooling what little they have to get by. In Mexico, where Pedro Pascal, who plays Joel, is a source of pride, his bond with Ellie in The Last of Us mirrors the strength of family ties. In Argentina and Peru, people gather around shared tables, splitting the last scraps, much like Ellie and Dina share a meal by the fire. In the United States, social tensions and questions of identity weigh heavy, and love becomes a way to find answers. Nietzsche would say, love is the will to power when it creates, when it makes us tougher than our fears. Ellie and Dina, with their courage to hold fast, embody this. Their love isn't a hideout from crisis, it's a tool to conquer it. But how does love lift us when life knocks us down? Think of stories you've heard from friends or online. Maybe a mother in Brazil working 2 jobs for her kids, fueled by their smiles. Or a couple in the United States, torn apart by distance, choosing to build rather than burn bridges. These aren't just tales, they're choices, choosing love as a strength, not a crutch. Ellie and Dina make that same call. When Dina patches up Ellie's wounds, when they whisper about a future in a crumbling house, it's not just gestures. It's a vow to live, not just survive. Picture Titanic, where Jack and Rose found meaning in love, despite the inevitable. Ellie and Dina, with their fragile bond, show that love isn't a luxury, it's a weapon. But Ellie, with her anger, risks losing that weapon. What would you choose in her shoes? This idea isn't just about the show, it's about us. In 2025, when the world feels brittle, love is what holds us together. In Latin America, where family is the heartbeat, people find strength in caring for those closest. In Mexico, Joel and Ellie's bond resonates with the power of parental love. In the United States, where debates over right and wrong run hot, love helps chart the course. Nietzsche teaches us, love isn't about dodging crisis, it's about facing it head on. Ellie and Dina, with their guts to love, are a shining example. Their story is a mirror, reflecting our own battles. Think about it, who's your anchor? What gives you the grit to keep going when the odds are against you? But love isn't always a walk in the park. Ellie's on a tightrope, where her anger could shatter everything she's built with Dina. Nietzsche would say, love demands clarity, or it becomes a weakness. In real life, we wrestle with this balance too. Think of couples who face storms, parents finding strength for their kids, or friends who stick by through chaos. These stories aren't about flawless love, they're about grit. Ellie and Dina, with their rocky path, remind us, love is choosing to be a creator, not a victim. In 2025, when the world tests us, this choice matters more than ever. How do you tap into love's strength when life throws one challenge after another? Ellie stands at the edge of a shattered bridge, her gaze lost in the fog. Dina's beside her, but the gap between them isn't just the chasm below, it's the storm brewing in Ellie's heart. Her love for Dina is a light pulling her forward, but her anger, her thirst for justice, threatens to wreck it all. Friedrich Nietzsche called love a will to power, a spark of creation, but what if that power twists into selfishness? What if love, instead of lifting you up, drags you into the abyss? His ideas inspire, but they've got a dark side. In The Last of Us, Season 2, Ellie risks losing Dina if her feelings turn into a grab for control. Their story makes us wonder, where's the line between strength and ego in love? And how do we keep from destroying what we hold dear? Let's dig into the cracks in Nietzsche's view and see what Ellie's path teaches us. Nietzsche saw love as a force, but his philosophy isn't bulletproof. He championed creation, urging us to overcome weaknesses, but his focus on power could slide into self-centeredness. If love is just about asserting yourself, it risks becoming a one-way street. Nietzsche barely touched on care, on how love often means putting someone else first. His superhuman is a lone wolf, charging ahead without looking back. But what if love is about the people beside you, not just you? Ellie grapples with this. Her feelings for Dina are her strength, but her anger makes that love fragile. If she chooses vengeance over Dina, her love could turn selfish, just as Nietzsche's critics would warn. Think about it. Have you ever sacrificed for someone you care about? Or pushed your own way, only to strain a bond? Let's zoom in on Ellie and Dina. Their love shines in fleeting moments. Dina teaching Ellie to dance, Ellie shielding Dina in a fight. But Ellie's rage, her fixation on the past, is a poison creeping into their bond. She risks turning love into a tool for her own crusade, where Dina becomes a shadow of her mission. Nietzsche might call this her will to power. A critic, though, would counter, love isn't just power, it's care, a willingness to put someone else above yourself. Ellie needs to find that balance, or she'll lose Dina. Think of Shakespeare's Macbeth. His passion for Lady Macbeth fueled his ambition, but without care, it led to ruin. Ellie's on that same tightrope. Her love is a chance to rise, but only if she keeps ego in check. What would you do in her place? This isn't just about the show, it's real life, too. Picture couples where one smothers the other under the guise of love. In Latin America, where family is the backbone, care strengthens ties. In Mexico, Joel and Ellie's bond, brought to life by Pedro Pascal, reflects how love often demands sacrifice. In the United States, where identity debates run hot, love teaches us to listen, not just lead. Nietzsche inspires us to be strong, but his view misses something. Love isn't only about power, it's about balance. Think of couples who've nailed this, parents putting kids first, or partners learning to give ground. Ellie and Dina, with their struggle, show how hard this is. What matters more to you, strength or care? This critique of Nietzsche isn't a takedown, it's a lesson. Ellie risks losing her love if anger drowns out her care for Dina. But her journey teaches us, love isn't just about being strong, it's about being wise. In 2025, with conflicts everywhere, this balance is crucial. In Argentina, where families stick together, love means sacrifice. In Peru, where people lend a hand, it's care. Ellie, with her courage and missteps, reminds us, love is a force only when we value the other person. Think about it, how do you balance your desires with care for those you love? Ellie and Dina, with their bumpy road, show that this choice is the key to real strength. Ellie and Dina sit by a crackling fire, their shadows flickering on the walls of a derelict house. Dina's hand brushes Ellie's, and for a moment, the world, its infected, its ruins, its pain, fades away. Their love isn't just a feeling, it's a choice, to embrace life, despite the chaos. But Ellie's path is littered with missteps. Her anger, her hunger for justice, threatens to dim the light she's found in Dina. Friedrich Nietzsche said, "Become who you are." For Ellie, that means choosing love as a strength, not a weak spot. Her story in The Last of Us, Season 2 isn't just a drama, it's a lesson for us. In 2025, when the world's fraying at the edges, love, for family, friends, purpose, is what makes us tougher. Think about it, who's your beacon in the storm? Let's unpack what Ellie teaches us and how to find your own strength and love. Ellie's no flawless hero. Her rage, her scars, they're part of her journey. But every time she chooses Dina, her smile, her warmth, her hope, she rises above her pain. Nietzsche would call this the will to power, not dominating others, but mastering yourself. Ellie and Dina's love isn't a shield from the world, it's a way to rewrite it. When they share a scratched old song, when they vow to keep pushing, these aren't just moments. They're creation. Their story shows us, love isn't about perfection, it's about choice. Choosing to be stronger than fear, stronger than loss, stronger than chaos. Think of The Lord of the Rings, where Frodo leaned on Sam's friendship to carry on. Ellie, like Frodo, finds her light in those beside her. But what does that light mean for us? In 2025, the world's a gauntlet. In Latin America, families stick together, sharing the last scraps, just as Ellie and Dina split their meager meals. In Mexico, where Pedro Pascal, who plays Joel, is a point of pride, his bond with Ellie mirrors the power of family ties. In Argentina and Peru, people find solace in caring for those closest. In the United States, where debates over morality and identity run hot, love lights the way to answers. Nietzsche teaches us, love isn't weakness, it's strength, when chosen with purpose. Think back, who's been there when you hit rock bottom? Maybe a mother who gave everything for you, or a friend who wouldn't let you quit. These aren't just memories, they're proof that love makes us unbreakable. Ellie and Dina, with their gutsy bond, show us how it's done. But how do you make that choice when the odds are stacked against you? Ellie teaches us courage, but also vulnerability. Her mistakes, her anger, her obsession, remind us, love needs balance. Nietzsche pushes us to be creators, but he overlooked how love is also care, putting someone else first. Ellie risks losing Dina if she chases vengeance. But each time she turns back to Dina, she chooses life. This struggle is our mirror. In 2025, with the world feeling fragile, we face the same fork in the road. Think about it, what fuels your fire? Maybe a child's grin, a partner's support, or a cause that sets you ablaze. Ellie and Dina, with their delicate but fierce connection, remind us, love isn't about dodging pain, it's about walking through it and coming out stronger. Now it's your turn. Ellie and Dina, daring to love in a world of wreckage, are a call to action. Find your strength in love. Create, take risks, live. In Latin America, where family is everything, choose to lift those around you. In the United States, where questions of justice burn bright, find love that helps you grow. Nietzsche said, "Become who you are." For us, that means choosing love as a force. Think of those beside you. What can you do to make their light shine brighter? Ellie and Dina, with their fight and their hope, show us, even in the bleakest times, we have a choice. Make it. Love fiercely. Grow stronger. And let your path, like theirs, be a beacon in the storm.